Hello everyone, this is Nash. Today I would like to talk about charging by induction. But before I talk about charging by induction, maybe I can first help you to understand what is charging by conduction. Charging by conduction is quite intuitive. If you ever want to charge some neutral stuff like a neutral metal sphere by a negatively charged metal rod, the one thing you need to do is making a contact between these two objects. Once when you do so, and some of the electrons on the metal rod are going to move away from it and start to gather around the neutral sphere. Once when it was happened, the neutral sphere is no longer neutral, it will start to carry a net negative charge. So as you can see, this is how I can charge a neutral sphere by conduction. Charging by conduction is quite intuitive. Now let's now go back to charging by induction. Charging by induction, it means no contact should be involved throughout this process. And still, we prepare the negatively charged metal rod, and the two spheres, they are now in contact with each other. They are neutral. They are both neutral. But it should be noticed, even though they are neutral, it doesn't mean it has no free electron. They still got so many free electrons are now swimming on the surface of them. The reason why they are still neutral is simply because they get the same amount of positive and negative charge. This is what makes them stay in neutral. Alright, now you bring your negatively charged rod and closer to the sphere, to the left sphere, and some of the electrons are going to be repelled by your negative rod. So what's going to happen is the electrons are going to move away from the rod and start to gather around on the right side of the sphere. So they are going to develop a net negative charge. So on the contrary, the whole system is neutral. So on the left sphere is going to develop a net positive charge. So what I'm going to do next is I can separate the two spheres. Disconnect the two spheres and move the rod away. Then I can successfully charge the two neutral spheres. Because as you can see, when you move your rod away and you separate the two spheres, you disconnect the system. The right sphere is going to have a net negative charge, and the left sphere is going to carry a net positive charge. So this is how you can charge spheres without making any contact with a prepared charged, negatively charged metal rod. So this is so-called charging by induction. There's no contact is involved, particularly for the charged rod. Let me give you one more example. Still one prepared negatively charged metal rod, but the sphere is now changing from two to a single metal sphere. This is also neutral, but I want to charge it by induction. That means no contact is involved. I can charge this sphere without touching the charged metal rod. Okay, let's begin. You bring this rod and closer to your sphere. Since the free electrons are going to be repelled by this negative charge on the rod, so it will start to gather around on the right side. So we're going to have a build-up negative charge. And on the contrary, on the left side, since the left side is now losing electrons, so it will be in electron deficient, and because of the electron deficient, they are in electron deficient, so the left side is going to have a positive charge. Okay, what I'm going to do next is you take a metal wire. And attach it to the right side of the sphere, and attach the other end to the ground. And it should be noticed, since all these free electrons are still being repelled by your charged rod, by your negatively charged metal rod, so they want to move away from the rod. And now they get somewhere to go because you give them a tunnel. It's a conducting metal wire. So it will just move away from this negatively charged rod and to the ground, or you can say to the earth. And at this point, if you take away the metal rod, you take away the metal wire, and you move your rod away, then I can successfully, what we are left with is still the sphere, but with no electrons inside and no negatively charged outside. The induction is now over. So what we are left with is a positively charged metal sphere. So this is how we can charge a neutral sphere without making a contact between this neutral sphere and charged objects by induction. There's one thing that needs to be mentioned. This kind of separation of charge, like positive and negative charge, but the whole sphere is still neutral, this kind of separation, it could be realized as polarized. So polarized means the separation of positive and negative charge on a different opposite side for a neutral stuff, or a neutral, like a neutral sphere or a neutral rod. It doesn't matter the shape, it's independent of the shape. This kind of separation of charge, it can be realized as polarized. All right, this is charging by induction. The contact is not necessary. I can still charge something through the induction process because a charged rod can induce the charge on the sphere without touching it. So this is the charging by induction. Thanks for watching, and this is Nash.